Good morning, one and all. I am AMITA SUKE, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Technology, PC Nagpur. Today we'll be talking a little bit about the subject Software Testing and Quality Assurance, which is there in the sixth semester of the curriculum. And we'll try to understand what are the insights of the subject, why it is useful for you, why it is needed, why it is there in a sixth semester of the entire curriculum. Okay, so let's try and understand why STQA in sixth semester coursework. Now, see, before this semester, you have a subject called as Software Engineering and Project Management. That subject deals with the theoretical work of how the planning, requirements, designing, analysis, coding, all this work is done. But then, before deployment, there is a small, we can say a procedure that is called as testing, which will lead to the assurance to the customer who has given the requirements in a way that, yes, my software which has been given to me is actually viable, actually working for me for the period of duration it has been allotted for. Let's say it was allotted for a year, okay, and for a year the technology is not going to be changed. So if it is not going to be changed, if the software requirements are not to be changed, then it should work for the entire year it has been deployed to me as in customer. Okay, so to try and understand this, we need to be assured. Now, when you need to be assured, you need to understand that yes, this is been tested, verified, validated, and then come to me. Okay, so in sixth semester, it is just before the making of your project, students. You will be making in your seventh semester all kind of projects. And while deploying that project, you should be able to convince the other person that yes, whatever project you have been made is been tested and verified. Correct? It is tested and validated, and then only it is giving the output, which is being assured from my side. Okay, to the requirements adhering to the customer. Okay, why in the curriculum needs to be in a flow where after the project management you need to go for the testing and then verifying it and then using different tools and then passing it on towards the deployment team. Next, in education system, this is required because in your day-to-day life, anything that comes into your home, any product that comes into your place has been tested and verified and then only come in your home, right? So in education system, this has to be assured that yes, you are being educated to understand what is to be tested, how it is to be verified, how it is to be validated, to be used in the real world. Okay, so in the outside world, how this testing and quality assurance is done, we can take a small example that while you're accessing your Gmail account, that time what happens, it has been asked for your electronic device, that is your mobile, that yes, is it you? Correct. So in your day-to-day life, you are actually going through the procedures of verifying and validation, which are being placed by the search engines or placed by different platforms, where your verification and validation is a must. So in outside world, in our day-to-day life also, we are going through it. Another example for day-to-day life, we can go for your WhatsApp features. In your WhatsApp features, again, they ask you for the security code after a period of time. Let's say 15 days period of time, it will ask you for an encrypted code that you have already decided for WhatsApp to open. Okay, so that is verified and validated that yes, it's you who's operating the WhatsApp from the other end, and it has been verified and validated that the data or the WhatsApp data is been looked after by you only, owned by you only. Okay, so these are some small day-to-day examples we can say where quality assurance or the software testing is periodically done. Okay, let's move on towards the outline of the presentation. It will cover objectives, it will cover the syllabus contents unit wise. It will cover the course outcomes. It will cover all the textbooks and reference books. Let's get straight towards the objectives of this course. In the course objective, we'll try and learn what are the criteria to make any test cases. Now, the test case word is a new word for you all. Okay. Now, test case is a storyline where the data has been checked, whether it is to be tested, whether it is to be verified, whether it is to be validated. Okay, so it is a storyline basically that yes, if the program is written for addition, the storyline will move for addition only. So the test case will be made to check or verify or validate for addition. Okay, so the criteria for test cases will be made first. That is the objective. Secondly, the designing of the test cases should be made. How the test cases have to be performed correctly. Okay, so the designing work will be learned in this objectives of the coursework. The third thing is to understand the test management, how to manage the test. Now, why do we need to manage anything? See, whenever you go for doing one thing, are you affected that the other one should not be affected, right? So in that case, the management comes into picture, that if you're testing one function, you should make sure that the other functions of the same projects are not been affected. There where comes the test management, right? Then we go for the objectives regarding the test automation techniques. Means if we are doing testing on a human resources background, you are also going to do it with a computerized version where the test cases will be directly written, the test scenarios will be directly built, and then they will be checked directly by the computers. Okay, there will be small codes where the test has to be tested. The data has to be tested, we can say. Okay, the last objective is to apply these using the test metrics and the measurements, which will make sure that the quality given to the customer on the specifications end is done correctly. Okay, so these are the basic objectives of our course. Let's move on towards the syllabus part. So we have 5 units. Now, in the very first unit, we'll understand how the software was evolved, how the testing came into a picture. So the testing very first concept came into 1957, and at that time it was a very basic thing that a code was written, and that code was only checked whether it has any error, or it has any defect, or it has any kind of bugs. Okay, in that, if there are no bugs, execution is done correctly, means that software is tested, verified. Okay, nowadays we are checking whether the software is tested or corrected in the terms of the specification given by the customer. Okay, so if the output should be a triangle, okay, which has 3 ends, right, and the customer specification is triangle is pointing towards the north, and the triangle is delivered to you, but the triangle is pointing towards the south, means specifications are attained, but the output, desired output, is not attained, right? Means it still has bugs, it still has errors, it is still leading to failure, because the customer is not satisfied, because he wanted the triangle pointing towards the north and not towards the south, right? So yeah, trying to understand where the small mistakes will lead to a disastrous situation. So likewise, we need to try and understand software testing and quality assurance play a vital role when we want anything, any project, any application to be delivered to the customer according to the requirements given by the customer. Okay, all the specifications should be covered up given by the customer. So here we'll try and understand what are the test cases. Okay, so test cases, as I have discussed, they are the storylines through which the testing will be done on every kind of part. So let's say if a big project is there which involves addition, which involves multiplication, subtraction, division. So for all the parts, the test cases will be written. Okay. Now testing suite will include all kind of test cases into it. So testing suite is made for test cases. Okay, testing oracles include all these kinds of suits. Okay, now any application or any software which is built, is it really practical that all the possibilities can be checked, that that software does not have any kind of bugs? That is totally an impractical work. A small glimpse is explained here, that all data or all paths cannot be checked whether they are error free. Okay, so there will be some or the other point to point 1% that there are chances to have some kind of errors. So it is literally impractical to check all kind of data for its validation and verification. Okay, then towards the end of unit 1, we'll come to know about the evolution of quality control. Then the concept of changes, right? The modern concept related to quality concepts in design, review of design. So this will be small things you'll be learning in your ending of unit 1. Okay, let's move on to the next unit. Here the test case design strategies, the major two strategies will be discussed. First one strategy is black box. The second one is white box. Now white box strategy deals with the internal checking of every kind of function possible and then testing it correctly, verifying it, validating it internally. It is related to the code, right? It is related to the code is functioning correctly or not. Okay, so that is basically what is white box testing. uh, Black box testing deals with the entirety of the program or entirety of the product or entirety of the entire project, we can say. It does not have any connection with the code. It goes with the design part of it. Okay, that yes, it is satisfied, the design part is satisfied, then my major criteria is satisfied, that yes, it has to be into these resolutions only. If those resolutions are met, means black box testing is done. Whereas in the internal checking, we need to go for the deep code testing that belongs to the white box approach category. Okay, so these two approaches basically we'll be learning into unit 2. In the unit 3, you'll be trying and understanding the need for levels of testing. Now, what is the need for levels of testing? There are many testing, of course, in the categories of black box testing and by white box testing. So let's take an example of a unit test. You can see here. Unit test means, as we have seen, a big project which has addition, multiplication, division, subtraction. Now, unit test is meant for a small unit, which is, let's say, addition unit. So addition unit will have only plus sign as important. So the developer has written a code for addition having a plus sign into it. The tester, that is a software tester team, will be writing a code for testing that addition. Okay. It is working for one test case. Yes, 2 plus 2 is giving 4. Then second test case, 10 plus 50 is giving 150. For the third case, test case, it is giving 200 plus 100, that is 300. But now what happens? A third person comes into, that is a fresher comes into this picture, and certainly for some reason what happens is he changes that plus sign mistakenly to asterisk sign. Now that asterisk sign is making the operations totally opposite to what was happening with the addition. But the tester has is knowing that yes, the functionality has to go for the addition. Now what is going to happen here? A disaster. Why? Because the addition is working. No, it is not working. What is working is the multiplication is working here. So everybody has to be alert, has to be on proper knowledge that yes, it has to be covered in that sense. So that falls under the unit test. So the small code written for addition should be tested for addition only. Okay, so that is a unit testing, a small code testing, the smallest testing available is unit testing. So that is code by code, function by function, it will be tested. Next, you can see the word like integration test planning. So integration tests are the tests which have modules into it. Means a small module will be carried out first, then the another module will be carried out, then the third module will be carried out. All these modules will be tested for their performance. After they are tested for their performance, they are brought into one. Now, brought into one means they are integrated into one. Now, integrated into one means, see that all the modules are functioning independently correctly, and when they're integrated together, they are all working in the same pace. Okay, means they are not disturbing the functionality of other functions. Okay, so when they are brought together, the integrity of the entire program is being maintained. That is what is happening in integration testing. Next is you can see defect bash elimination. So your defect bash elimination also covers with the defect finding. Okay, so the third person who does not belong to the organization will always tell you that yes, there is some kind of defect and that needs to be eliminated. So a third person who does not belong to the organization where that project is being developed can tell you that yes, what is going wrong. Okay, so that is what is defect bash elimination, where the performance timing will be checked. Okay, next is performance testing. In performance testing, we go for the response time. Okay, so if you go to the ATM machine and you want cash slip, that yes, it is saying that we want a mini statement. I just want to inquire my balance in my ATM account. Okay, so that balance has to be fetched in coming 1 minute, that is 60 seconds, but it is taking you 2 minutes, that is 120 seconds. So the performance testing lies here, that it should have been covered in a response time of 60 seconds, but it is covering in 120 seconds, means the performance is somewhere or the other lacking. So here performance testing comes into picture, where the response time comes into picture. Okay, in unit 3 again you will come to see that regression testing is there. Now see, regression testing is again the testing meant for um, try and understand that the testing is done. Okay, the product is been developed, testing has been done, but the third person, who is the client or the person who is from the outside organization, he can judge well that what is lacking from his naive eyes. That is a third perspective you can give on the same kind of product. Okay, on other than the development team in the organization, that person can tell you the loop and holes, or he can tell you what better can be done for that same product. So that is what is covered in the regression testing. Okay, next we'll be trying and understanding what are the alpha tests, what are the beta tests. No, alpha tests are carried out inside the organization, beta tests are carried out outside the organization. Okay, all these things will be learned in unit 3. Let's move on towards the unit 4. In unit 4, again, after all these kind of testings, we need to try and understand what are the levels of testing. That is debugging, then testing techniques, then the replicability, then exploratory testing, automated data generation, which will have test data. It will have the approaches to test data generations. Okay, so you will be understanding which are the tools used for software testing, which are the test plans that help you get to the testing activities better. Okay, now this unit 4 will help you understand how there is a need to develop a skill for automation. Now see, testing, if it is done by human resource, it is going to take a little more time. That is, it is going to be a time taking job. Okay, if it is done by the human. But if it is done automatically by the machine, if the test codes of the test cases are written directly on the platform, that will help a lot of time to be saved. Okay, so automation is also needed. That automation will help you make human effort a little bit less. But there are some challenges in automation too that we'll come to know in unit 4. Let's move on to the last unit. The last unit says it has object-oriented testing. Now, in object-oriented testing, we have some definitions, we have some issues regarding class testing, object-oriented integration, and system testing. Okay, all these things will be in a very usability testing, user interface testing, where the project is to be developed, or sorry, where the project is to be deployed to the customer. All this testing will be done, whether it is usable by the customer for the period of time it has been promised. Let's say 1 year time was being promised, but in 1 year technology is going to change, right? Are we using the 2G technology right now? No, we are using 4G. So whenever the project has to be developed, it has to be developed in the terms that yes, the technology is going to be changed from one generation to another generation. It is going to evolve in some or the other manner. So it should be in the developing state, right? It should be in the we can say that state where it can be coping up with the next generation requirements. Okay, so or the preferences, right? So likewise, we have to keep on evolving our own project during the development. Lastly, coming to the final part, that is how the matrix, how the measurements can be done for this product paths, the path expressions, how the syntax testing formats, test cases have been done, how the state graph can help us find out that yes, this testing procedure is covering almost every kind of thing, as it is, as we have already learned that it is literally impractical to cover all kind of data and all kind of paths so that there are no bugs. But is it really possible? No, it's not that possible. Okay, so with this, our syllabus has been covered. Let's see what are the course outcomes. The very first outcome says how to design the test cases suitable for a software development for different domains under the software is developed, for which we need to design the test cases. So the very first outcome will design the test cases. The second outcome will identify the suitable tests to be carried out. Suitable tests, as we have discussed many tests like unit testing, performance testing, regression testing. So which suitable test is to be carried out for any kind of software development, that we need to identify, and that you will be able to identify with the scores. The third outcome we can say is preparing the test planning based on the document. Okay, so based on the document, you can go for the planning, develop that document, and validate that test plan. Okay, so that will be the third course outcome. The fourth course outcome will be document the test plans, how to write them into proper document, and test cases designed. Okay, so the test cases designed need to be documented well, so that whenever that project is given to the end user or the client, it is pretty easy for them or pretty simple for them to understand that yes, it is following this all exact path, and which is going to attain us to achieve the final required output. And final output or outcome we can say is we can use the automatic testing tools. Okay, how to use them and which one to go for. These all things you'll be learning into this course. The textbooks or the reference books we can refer for software testing and quality assurance. Software testing principles and practices given by Srinivasan Desikan. Then we have software testing book given by Ron Patton. So there are some listed references books which can really help you try and understand software testing in the real world. The reference book is given by the Edward Kitt. Second reference book is given by Software Testing Techniques, that is by Boris Bezer. The third reference book is given by Aditya Mathur, that is, I think, the Indian author, Foundations of Software Testing. Yes, these references will definitely help you try and understand what are software testing and quality assurance techniques, tools in real world. Okay, so I hope you have got a little bit glimpse of what software testing and quality assurance as a subject or as an elective help you to improve before your projects are to be built in your final exams or in your final year of your curriculum. So thank you so much.